Hola, this is Alex. Welcome to my vlog. Today I want to talk to you about two things. First, a music festival that I recently attended, and second, the place where it was held. It's called Benidorm, which is found in the eastern part of Spain. It's a very interesting place, at least it's interesting in my opinion. We stayed in Benidorm for around 4 days, and the group I was with was composed of like all Spanish people. So that basically meant 4 days of not really talking as much as I usually do. In fact, there were some conversations where I didn't really contribute anything because I'm still a bit embarrassed to speak in Spanish, especially in groups. But it was good listening practice, not just for Spanish purposes, but also for general listening. The trip to Benidorm was about a 4 to 5 hour drive, but it didn't seem particularly long for me. Benidorm is around 450 kilometers from Madrid, but 4 to 5 hours would be maybe around the same time it would take you to drive from maybe Quezon City to Alabang, which is like 30 kilometers away. So I was used to sitting in a car for extended periods of time, having lived in Manila. Also, the drive provided us with a very picturesque landscape. We set off on a very sunny day, so there were a lot of fluffy clouds, there were a lot of trees, and then we passed by a lot of sunflower fields, and there were also a lot of windmills, which I think are very pretty. Then we took a bathroom/snack break a couple of hours after we left Madrid, and then we had some migalitos de la Roda, which is a specialty of the area where we had the stopover, which was Albacete. It's a flaky puff pastry with a cream filling, and it was topped with powdered sugar. It was definitely a tasty way to stop the hunger pangs until we got to our destination. As I said, Benidorm is a very interesting place. It's a very, very super touristy place as well. And one of the things that makes it very unique are the skyscrapers that you will find in the city. And we saw a lot of these as we arrived. You don't see a lot of skyscrapers all over Spain. The buildings aren't particularly pretty. In fact, some of them are downright ugly, especially if you compare them to the beautiful old buildings that you usually see around Spain. But they do have one advantage going for them, and this is that they are very close to the beach. That means, you just walk down your building and then you walk a little bit, and then you're already there by the beach, right by the sea. Also, I have to say that the buildings are way more attractive when they are all lit up at night. They're very pretty at that time. The other thing, and I think actually it's the main thing that makes Benidorm unique, is that there are a lot of British people there. It seems that they own and run the place. In fact, there are so many shops there that offer currency exchange, and they only offer the rates for pounds. So as you can see, they're probably one of the top spenders in that area. A lot of the restaurants have menus in English, and this is also very unusual for Spain, where usually the menus are in Spanish. And then you can also see that in the menu, they offer a lot of fish and chips. So you can guess pretty much who their target clientele is. After Spanish people, the biggest number of residents actually comes from the United Kingdom. One of our Spanish friends said that in fact some of the British people complain when there are too many Spanish people living in their building. The place we stayed in was in the heart of Benidorm, which means that we were pretty much in the red light district. The place that was across from us was called Chaplin's, and it featured very interesting shows. One show featured a vertically challenged man with some strange outfits. There was also a sex parody of Star Wars. There was a lesbian show and the like. Unfortunately, we were not able to watch any of these as we were going to the music festival. There were bars that offered lap dances. Well, you know that kind of area. These kinds of places abound in very touristy places all over the world. There were bars that targeted Irish people, some targeted Scottish people, some declared themselves to be the best Scottish bar in Benidorm, and things like that. A few decades ago, the place was infamous for drinking binges, and families that traveled were turned off by this. Now there is a stronger police presence and the drunkenness is more under control. So vacationing families are now a common sight. This doesn't mean that the drinking has stopped, though. As a matter of fact, we came across an unconscious woman lying on the sidewalk one night coming home from the festival, and she was totally passed out, either from alcohol or maybe drugs. We tried to see if we could revive her with water and just talking to her, but we couldn't. So our friend Laura eventually called the police and an ambulance to see if they could help her. The medics came to take her to a medical center and it looked like she was in good hands. That incident was certainly a highlight of that trip. During the day, we went to the beach. The water was nice, it was clean, and also the sand. And it was very pleasant to swim in, even for a tropical person like me, because it was on the Mediterranean coast. There were some women who were topless on the beach, and this would probably shock a lot of Filipinos because this is something that is just not done in the Philippines. Of course, I didn't take any videos of them to respect their privacy. Now, Benidorm is in Alicante, which is in the general area from where paella originated. So for 3 straight days, we had this rice dish. Talk about carbo overload. I felt that I was carbo loading to run a marathon the next day. My companions were nice enough to order the seafood versions in consideration of my being pescatarian. So that was really, really nice of them, and I really appreciated that. The paella and the other rice dishes were great, especially when we had them in restaurants which were not right in the middle of the touristy areas. They were both cheaper and more tasty. Now, on to the music festival, which was called the Low Music Festival. I'd read somewhere that it was originally called the Low Cost Festival, but I think they changed the name probably to make it sound or not make it sound like such a cheap event. But the price really is, well, relatively speaking, low. Because for 3 nights of music in this festival, you'd probably pay the same amount for just 1 night of music in Madrid. Low features pop and indie bands. A lot of them were from Spain, but there were also some from other countries. The first Low Festival was held in 2008, and since then it's just becoming more and more popular. More and more people come each year. This year, the first acts started to play around 9:30 at night, and the last ones would end around 6 in the morning. So you can just imagine how exhausting those few days were. I really wasn't familiar with a lot of the bands, but I still enjoyed listening to their music and dancing to it as well. There were some songs that I did recognize, for example, Lean On and Final Song by Mo. I saw on YouTube that Lean On had more than 2 billion views, so it's a very, very popular song. Some of the hits that Bastille sang were familiar to me, but what really got the audience up and moving was their remake of the dance classic from the 90s, which was Rhythm of the Night. Another classic was the hit song by the British band New Order called Bizarre Love Triangle, which is probably one of the most popular hits of the group in the Philippines. Was already more than 60 years old, but he had no problems getting the crowd to move, to stand up and dance. So the Low Festival has been a great music and dancing experience for me. And if you've had similar amazing experiences in a music festival, please do share them in the comments section below. That's it for today. Until the next vlog, this has been Alex. Ciao, chicos!